Good morning, people. Charlie Tango 1 coming at you here, Ray Townsend. This video really, I've done similar ones to it, but this one's just to show you in layman's terms how to start these little 8R stoves up. Now, I'm going to cover this bit by bit. Now, I started off with Coleman's fuel. It's cleaner, a lot cleaner than petrol and paraffin. They use that as well, but really it just soots up all the stove and everything else, particularly paraffin, and you just get black soot all over your hands and everything. Well, if you're trying to cook a meal or something, you know, you're getting it all over the place. But then I since got, I'll put that over there, and I'll put it over there, shall I? Yep. I since found something that's much more suitable. It is a petrol, but it's had all the additives taken out. This Coleman's had some additives taken out, but this one, I was listening to some chap who was talking about this, and everything is out of it. You got no products in it whatsoever. You smell it, it doesn't even, you can't smell the petrol. That's how, you know, pure it is. And so I recommend this. I do recommend this, like, you know, in your tank. And it does burn clean. It doesn't soot up your stove. You can get this stuff as been. You can get that from any chainsaw supplier or motor mower supplier, grass cutter. They seem to be the people that stock this. You won't get it in places like B&Q and I don't know, I don't know about over the other side of the pond, like, but this you will only get in places where they have chainsaws mainly, because they use this for the chainsaws. Right, having said that and got that out of the way, let's put that down there. Put that, excuse my nut, but let's put that over there out of the way. Now, the stove. Let's have a little stove here. Where are we here? Yep. Now, this is the 8R stove. Now, I've already filled this up with Aspen. Aspen, yeah. Let's put a little key in the hole near it. Now, first thing you want to do, once you've filled that little tank up, now the other important factor, don't fill this tank right up. You only want it roughly just over halfway, because it's got to have room for expansion to be able to vaporise the fuel down near the jet, down near here. So don't fill it up, because all it'll do is it'll spit fuel out the jet. That's what will happen. Now, when I got these stoves, I stripped all these down right to nothing. A lot of them, especially the Ukraine and the Russian ones, I replaced all the wicks on them because they're pathetic. I think it's an insult to call it a wick. That's just me. Right, now what you do is you prime it, and there's a little priming bowl in here that you're all aware of. I just fill this, usually I do it twice, but I'm not going to this time. Why, he asked himself. Because it should light on one. So, here goes nothing. Where's my little up here? I'm going to turn the lights off so that you can see how it performs. Now, let's bring this back up. Might have to wait a minute because it'd be like watching paint dry. So here we go, but that's it. So 2/3 or 3/4 fill the tank. Put your meths in there to prime it. That's purely for priming it. That's a light. There we go. I think you see, yeah, you can see the flames coming up there actually. And I use this for in the shed. Well, this one here actually. I might make me coffee with it. I've got a silent burner on that one, and you can have it right down low with that silent burner, and it doesn't rapidly boil it, it just boils it slowly and then lets it percolate. Fantastic little things they are. I love them, I really do. I think they're beautiful little stoves. Now I'm going to try and crack this before it goes out, but if it does go out, it doesn't matter. I've got my little fuel. These are handy now, these little clippers, they got an extension on them. You know, look, rather than the standard one. They're actually brilliant. Look, you can get, that's the standard one. You've got that on there. Brilliant. Don't get your all your hairs on your hands and fingers burnt. Well, this is crackling away here. And the reason for that little crackling is because it's about to run out. I'm going to let it run out in the hope that it will light up like that. You need to put this cap on tight, but also don't forget, when you turn the stove off, let it cool down so that this tank's absolutely cold and everything, because it does get hot. When it's all cooled down, then just crack open this to take the pressure out of the tank so it becomes equal. And then, as I say, you can store it with a bit of fuel in if you want, but I empty all mine out. Because I've got about, I don't know, 8 or 9 of these things I think. But anyway, this one, let's turn it up a little bit more, shall we? Find out what's happening. I don't think this has got a, no, this hasn't got a, they usually roar a bit better than that actually, I'm quite surprised. But I don't think that's got a pricker in it, in the jet, so it's just a question of taking the bowl off and putting a pricker in it on this particular one, but usually they've got a built-in pricker, and when you must turn these clockwise. That's right-handy to turn them off. The left-handy, all that does is raises the pricker up to clear the jet, but people tend to turn it off, doing it counterclockwise. What we're always doing is pushing the jet up, the pricker up through the jet. Well, when you go and store it somewhere, especially if you don't depressurise the tank, you will get leakage. You know, and the times you get to your campsite, you find all the fuel virtually gone out of there, and it's soaked all your other equipment. So be warned on that one. This one, it's going pretty well really. I mean, it'll boil well, but usually they roar a little bit better than that. But nevertheless, I'll oh, that's getting warm, and even though I didn't have it plugged in. Even though I replaced them all, like this particular one I don't think has a jet in. They usually wore a bit more than that. Now I don't know if it's because I put quite a bit of fuel in the tank. It's good half the tank there. That should last you all day. You know, if you fire it up a couple of times, that should be fine. And the other important factor is when you've got these up, do not have this tank cap facing you. Always turn it another way so it's sideways at you. Because that way, if for some reason it gets back pressure too much, in this case, what happens is it will lift this little pipet, which is a pressure release valve. It pushes it up and it spurts the fuel out and the pressure out, and that doesn't come out as fuel, it comes out as a flame, and it comes out about 2 or 3 feet high, so it'll burn all your eyelashes, your nose, hairs, your beard if you've got one, and some of your hair. But I'm going to have a look at that one because I want that one to burn a bit better than that. But there, that's the principle of it. It's so simple. You know, it's unreal. So let me turn this off because I'm going to. Oh, and the other thing, let's look through these cracks. You can see it. These little vents here in the bowl. When you're going to turn it off, look through one of them, and as you turn it off, just see that the candle, it goes to a candle when you turn it low, look. That's low, now it's going to the candle, right? So it's gone to a little candle now. Yeah, you can see that. When you turn it the rest of the way, make sure it goes out. That way you know that you've shut that valve off completely and it's not leaking. If you've got to blow that candle flame out, then it's not. Oh, that was heavy. The spindle is not shutting the valve properly, so that will be the cause of it continuing to candle. So there you have it. That's it. Tank with Aspen fuel, about half full. See, that tank's not hot yet, but I think that's when that'll roar more when that gets hot. But so what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to leave it on. Now, if you've only just turned it off, I'm going to leave it on for a bit. If you've only just turned it off, you can turn it back on. You'll hear it hiss, and away she'll go. Now that's going a bit better this time. So I'll leave it going for a bit because that tank's not very hot yet. So although you've got a heat shield here, I think it will roar better. If it doesn't, I'm going to strip down the spindle and check the packing inside the spindle, which is graphite, compressed graphite, and see if that's a problem. So without further ado, let's put this up here. That seems to be there we go. So that's it. Couldn't be more simpler than that. And I'll catch you on the next one. I wasn't happy with the way that was running. So what I've done is I've stripped the taken the bell off. I've taken the jet out. I've taken the spindle out. I've checked the graphite. I put a brand new graphite ring in there, tightened it up, and I've now filled this up, well, half full, I'm now going to prime it, and we'll see what happens, eh? See if the paint dries, so to speak. Keep knocking that bloody percolator flying. I'll make a coffee in a minute. Right now I've got my spanner out handy, just in case I've got to crack that larger nut up, because when you put a new graphite O-ring in, if you like, call it O-ring, when you put a new one of them in, oh, that's not right. Right, is it? That's better. It doesn't always, you might get a little leak out of that big nut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, that's it, I'm going to put a little bit of something under there to make that a little bit squarer, because it seems to be wanting to do something else other than sit up square. So that's it. Let's see what that does. Yeah, that's a bit squarer. You see that okay, yeah? Oh, use it with this. Get that key out again. Right, just playing around, bear with me. Well, it's not leaking anyway. Water it now. Let me just turn the lights out for a minute. Oh, let's see what happens. Well, it's heating up that spreader, right? And when you get something like that, I'm still not happy with that, so I'm going to turn it off. I know that they roar more than that. Turns off and seals, the candle's gone out. So what I'm now going to do is, I won't do a rerun of it. I'll just take the bell out, and I'm going to take the spindle off of the tank. And then I'm going to check that wick, because I don't know if that's a new wick I put in there. If it's too tight in the vaporising chamber, that also will cause it to burn low like that. So I'm going to take that out and check that so that it's all A1 up and running. I've got ideas with this stove, that's why. Anyway, I won't say more than that. Still weren't happy with that flame. I'll catch you on the next one. So I've done no more. This is the third attempt. But what I've done this time is the wick in the tank here, although I had replaced it, on pulling it out, I think it was a little bit too tight in there actually. And I have had that happen with some other wick, these big fat thick things, and they do restrict the flame on the berm. So without further ado, when I can get this thing alight, I am going to attempt to do another burn test. See how we get on. See, the thing with me is I'm determined to get it right. I won't be defeated. It's got to be right. If it ain't right, then I just keep messing around with it till it is right. And as I've said before, I do repair these for people if they want it. I've got spare parts hanging up there. If they ever want their stove looked at or something, I do clean them right up and everything else. So you get back virtually a new stove. But all I do charge, as I've often said, is £5. So you can always put the £5 in the stove when you send it to me, and then I can send it to you. It goes back first class recorded. That's why it's £4.75 or something like that. So I prefer to do them recorded, then I can track them as well, and you can track them also, you know, if you want to. But that's what I do. You only have to contact me. My phone number's at on the top of most of my videos. Just give me a ring. I'll give you my address, and you just tell me what stove you got, etc. And you know, I'll get it up and running for you. I'll let this thing burn right down now, because I always do it twice, but I'm trying to get over that. If it can do it once, then why do it twice? Oh, excuse me, itchy nose there. Right, so she's just about to go out. That doesn't matter. Oh. Here we go. So I'll crack it and see if I can. That's not going to have it. I only cracked it a little bit, but really that sounds better. Let's see if I can get. It's just one of them stoves that doesn't want to go any higher. Well, I've done everything possible now. So I've eliminated everything. The only thing left to do is replace the jet, but that's quite adequate. You can soon get a kettle going on that, no problem at all. So when this tank decides to get a bit hotter, like it did with this one here, I put it on very low for my coffee, and by the time it got to boiling, it was roaring like a good one. So they do have to have a little bit of a warm-up period, I think. Let's hope and see. But I'm happy with that. Turn the right up if you it makes it easier for you. Getting closer so you can see. Yeah, I'm happy with that. It's a nice little stove going there. So, without further ado, I'm going to leave it at that. And